Right, so I thought I lost my week one journal because the phone destroyed it, but apparently just something went wrong with the transfer. But I found it in another folder, so everything's good to go. I have that up on YouTube, and so let's talk about week two. Okay, after a tough day of climbing to get to Muskrat Creek, I left there at a pretty good hour, around 7:30 or so, and hiked to Muny Gap, which is about 17 miles. The up down wasn't too terribly bad. Still 17 miles. Morning hiking is the best. Totally stealing that idea. A great way to get at your water. Nice. Trail magic. And it's empty. Got to Muny Gap, and I called this nice lady named Beverly, who came out to this end of this forest road to get me at Muny Gap and brought me to the Budget Inn in Franklin, North Carolina. So Budget Inn in Franklin, not bad. Budget Inn's pretty decent. I think it was like 40 or 45 a night. You know, it had Wi-Fi and a shower. The fixtures are a little dated, and didn't have any hot water the second day. But it had Wi-Fi and nice little breakfast place around the corner. And Beverly was nice enough to take me to Shoney's a couple times, where I sacked that breakfast buffet like Lawrence Taylor. Country Kitchen around the corner was also pretty good. I was running pretty good on biscuits and gravy for my hiking food for a while. Actually checked in there and did slack packing. So I stayed there 2 nights, left most of my heavy gear, such as it is, and just took water and snacks. And Beverly took me back out to Muny Gap and hiked from there to Muny Gap. Right, I don't know if you can see this, but there's a fire tower right here. The top of this mountain called Albert Mountain, and that's where I'm going. Probably half-mile climb, really steep. We're looking at this. There's a bypass road, but this is where we're going. Right, so see that white mark on the rock? That's the direction of the trail. And up here, there is the next mark. Right in the middle there. hike from Muny Gap took me to Burningtown Gap, which is near the Nantahala Mountain Lodge, run by a guy who hiked the AT back in 2010 named Wiggy. He runs it with his wife, a couple Brits. He's a former British Royal Marine, which are my favorite shorts. So I actually zeroed there. It's a nice little spot. It's just a cabin kind of out there. They had some Wi-Fi, shower. It's really all you need, right? She even made us waffles one morning. So pretty nice little stay, and left there and headed on down the trail. Anybody seen Starship Troopers? Looks like one of those bugs. Okay, so after leaving Burningtown Gap, I hiked to the NOC, the Nantahala Outdoor Center, which is kind of a little tourist trap / outdoor sports mecca. I mean, they had some kayaking going on, a nice restaurant called River's End, and stayed in a cabin there. And I guess the space is limited. The hostel was full. They had some kind of rafting event in town, but the cabin was like $100. And this place was trash. I'm just going to go ahead and say that. The deck looked like it hadn't been serviced in about 20 years. I had to do battle with a fucking yellow jacket as soon as I entered the room. You know, good thing there was a handy tourist pamphlet nearby for me to put it down. And there's these big black ants coming out of the ceiling. There's no cell service. Something about couldn't register on the network. No Wi-Fi. Yeah, it was definitely not worth $100. Worst place I've stayed at so far. Right, so the climb out of the NOC, headed north, is almost a mirror image of the day before. So it was about 8 miles of uphill, which I don't mind as much. I mean, it was steep and grueling at times, but that's just fatigue and cardio. It doesn't like beating on your joints. Right, so I'm climbing Jacob's Ladder, and you see the base of that little tree up there? That's 20 feet down the trail, and it's level with my head. This is pretty steep. Yeah, that's the trail. Now you know, because there's a little blaze. It says this is the way. Sometimes it's like that. Yeah, I went from the NOC to, I thought it was Stokoa, but after running into a local, it's Stikwa. So, I stopped there. It's about a 14-mile hike. There's a steep hill coming up, so I figured it's a good place to stop. And I was going to get a shuttle from Fontana Village, but the guy wouldn't answer his phone, so I looked into the Gut Hook app and found this guy named Lonnie who owns a house nearby, and it's called the Wolf Creek Hostel. And this place was $25 a night, and it was great. They had Wi-Fi, had a shower. It's just, a house he used to live in that he keeps up, and it's about 150 meters from a store and a restaurant. So it is the best place I've stayed in on this entire trip. Really nice. To that point. After leaving Stikwa Gap, there's some pretty decent climbs, but about 14 miles later, I wound up at the Fontana Dam Road trailhead and got a quick little $3 for a one-way shuttle into Fontana Village Resort. And this place is great. I actually decided to take another zero here, but really nice room, great food at the restaurant. And it's just really super relaxing. Yeah, so I had the Wild Woody burger at the Wildwood restaurant down there. And it is a half-pound hamburger with pulled pork and bacon on it. It really hit the spot. And their fries are pretty good as well. So, highly recommend. And I highly recommend, if anyone's in the area, of checking this place out. I got the hiker rate. I think it was like 70 or 75. I'm starting to rack up these things, but it's really nice here. All right, so I think that about does it here. I'm going to actually wind up paying a shuttle driver because the shuttle from Fontana Village doesn't leave until 9 o'clock, and that is a no-go because I'm planning on putting in about 19 and a half miles, maybe 20 tomorrow, so I want to get an early start. But I think the next time I'll be off the trail is probably in a few days in Gatlinburg.